That breaking news, the death toll rising in the catastrophic wildfires burning in Southern California. 10 people are now dead. More than 10,000 structures have burned, including many homes. This is a live look at the largest of those fires, the Palisades fire, growing to nearly 20,000 acres tonight. You can see the orange glow from all of those flames there. And tonight we're getting a closer look at the devastation.
Hey, 25 years I've been here. Easy, 25. Gone. Less than 3 hours.
Right over here is my kitchen, my living room. Oh my God. Pots and pans and stuff right there.
So many people left devastated in this tragedy. This video from the Pacific Palisades showing a school now reduced to nothing more than rubble. I want to thank you for being with us tonight as we cover this continually. I'm Golston Dart.
And I'm Andrea Flores. While the community mourns all of the loss from these fires, crews are still working to put out the flames tonight, and they have a long way to go. Right now, crews are battling 5 fires. We just showed you the Palisades fire burning in the Pacific Palisades and Malibu. Crews have made some progress. It is 6% contained. The Eaton fire is still burning tonight in Altadena. It's now more than 13,600 acres. Officials are telling people not to drink the water in those evacuated areas of the Eaton fire because of possible contamination from fire debris. Some schools in that area will remain closed tomorrow. Those are the 2 largest fires we're following tonight. We're also keeping an eye on the Kenneth fire. It broke out just after 3:30 this afternoon near Calabasas. Crews say they've stopped forward progress and there are no reports of any damaged or destroyed structures at this point. Evacuation orders have been lifted. This fire is at 1,000 acres and is 35% contained.
And today some people are returning to their homes for the first time and they're getting a full scope of the damage. And we want to show you this drone video of just the seemingly never-ending devastation. This is in Pacific Palisades. You can see just how many homes have been reduced to ash. Street after street of homes gone.
I just drove by my house just to get some closure, and yeah, it's rubble. There's nothing there. My daughter, who was born there, and she's 23 now, and said, "Dad, get something, just pick up something." And there's literally nothing.
Just heartbreaking. Yeah. Here's a look at some of the aftermath in Malibu. You can see a car completely scorched there in this fire. The neighborhood is unrecognizable. Thousands are trying to figure out what's next after those flames destroyed their homes. Years of memories, as you just heard, gone in just minutes after the destructive wildfires tore through their neighborhoods.
KCRA 3's Melanie Wingo is on the scene. She spent the day talking with people whose lives are now forever changed by the Palisades fire.
It's night 3 for people forced from their homes by the Palisades fire, that they will stay out of their homes because of this. Homes reduced to piles of debris all throughout the Pacific Palisades community. It's clear that this is a community that is going to be suffering for quite some time.
We have no Palisades anymore. It's gone.
Something that we are seeing in this neighborhood is people coming back to try to check the status of their homes. We spoke with one gentleman who said he's trying to make sure his parents' home is still standing, but when he sees the devastation, the dozens of homes that have been burned to the ground, it's tough to remain optimistic because there is so much destruction.
I grew up here. My parents still live on the hill. 90 years old and 85 years old, and we want to see if the house is still here. Most of the people that lived in these houses were people like my parents. That's the most devastating thing. They were not, all these people were not rich. Their whole life savings is in the house.
One of the observations we're making in neighborhoods just like this one here in Pacific Palisades is how homes can be left standing. This home has a blown out window, but that's it. Pretty much it is still intact. But then you take a look at the home right next door, this one, destroyed by fire, a car burned out completely. All this oceanfront property now devastated.
I hate saying it's a war zone. It's getting so cliche, but it totally is.
There are no words to describe what is happening here right now. There are no words. Everything you're seeing on TV is real, but worse.
The work for fire crews is still a very much round-the-clock effort. As you can see, fires are still popping up along the coastline in the Pacific Palisades area here on the Palisades Fire.
I see all the firefighters. They're doing every single thing that they can, but there's not enough. These people are working their butts off, and they can't do anything to save it.
Even for families whose homes are still standing, they can't come back right now. Evacuation orders are still in effect. Not only are fire crews dealing with fires that continue to pop up throughout Pacific Palisades, this kind of work is going on. Infrastructure greatly damaged in the fire, and work crews just like this are working hard to repair it. Reporting from Pacific Palisades, Melanie Wingo, now back to you.
We have an aerial view of crews working to contain that Palisades fire. You can see just how much smoke is being kicked up, and there was a break in the winds for part of the day, which helped firefighters make some progress. You saw that retardant drop there. They're trying to use the retardant to kind of create a ring around the fire, so that as the fire spreads, it'll hit that ring and hopefully stop the forward progress. The conditions, though, still challenging, and let's go to Heather right now. And I know the winds have gone down, but there's still winds there.
Yeah, we do still have some gusts over the Santa Monica and San Gabriel mountains. You can see here a gust of 25 miles per hour near Oxnard, 21 mile per hour gust in Santa Ana near Orange County. Now, these are not the eye-popping numbers we had a couple of days ago when many of these fires started, but any kind of a wind gust can pick up those embers and continue to challenge fire crews. So there are 2 fires that we're still watching that have mandatory evacuations. Of course, 2 out of 5 in total that are still ongoing, but the Palisades fire and the Eaton fire, very easily the largest of the 2 fires, and those were the ones that started during the day on Tuesday. There is a red flag warning still in effect from Ventura County down through San Diego County. That goes until 6 p.m. on Friday. Winds are going to stay up tonight. It is still that dry offshore flow, but as we go through Friday and into the weekend, the winds get lighter. Early next week, an even better sign of some promise, at least as far as the weather is concerned, more of an onshore flow that'll increase humidity and hopefully help to sweep out some of the smoke particles from the air. Right now, air quality across downtown LA still in that unhealthy category, most of that because of the Eaton fire. Back to you.
All right, Heather, thank you so much. And we want to show you this live look. This is of the Palisades fire right now, burning in portions of Pacific Palisades and Malibu. Of course, this is the nighttime view, so you can really see the orange glow of those flames. You can also see some smoke there. Even though it is dark, you can still see that portion of the fire. We know the Palisades fire has grown now to nearly 20,000 acres. Crews are making some progress tonight. It is now 6% contained. But again, we learned tonight, just minutes ago, that the death toll has risen in the wildfires burning across Southern California. 10 people are now dead, and we know 10,000 structures have burned, including many homes in the many fires that are burning in LA County.
Just stunning to see those pictures tonight. Well, nonprofits across the country are stepping in to help victims who've lost everything, including the Convoy of Hope.
The national nonprofit has a distribution center based in Sacramento. KCRA 3's Peyton Headley got a look inside as they loaded up supplies to send south. Peyton.
Yeah, and their goal as an organization is to fill an immediate need. So in the last 3 days, Convoy of Hope has already sent more than half a dozen trucks with supplies to the Los Angeles area. They say they want to help as many people as they can, as long as they can. Everything inside the Convoy of Hope Distribution Center in Sacramento has been donated. And everything they're loading up Thursday afternoon is headed to Southern California.
Water, food, and hygiene immediately.
This is one of about half a dozen truckloads the nonprofit has sent to Los Angeles County, hoping to fill a need.
When you've got a family, you've got children, and you're just running for your life, we send down those essential relief supplies.
Ryan Allen, a Convoy Nation representative, says with disasters like the wildfires in Los Angeles, getting supplies to those who really need them can present a challenge.
One of the hard things about this disaster is that fires, people kind of scatter. They go wherever they can go. No one really goes to a central place.
So their trucks go to churches and other organizations in the area where they know people will be. And from there, they start distributing essentials to anyone who needs them.
They're upside down. The world's been changed dramatically and forever. It'll never be the same. And if all we can do is help them have a sense of peace and a little bit of hope that somebody on the other side cares and we're here to help, that means the world sometimes.
In a time when these fires have left so many with nothing, that help can mean everything. And we asked just how many truckloads they'll be sending down to Los Angeles County. They say they don't have an exact number right now, but they'll send them as long as they're needed. Golston.
It's great to see what they're doing there. Okay, Peyton, thank you for that part of our coverage tonight. Officials in Hollywood are assuring everyone that the world famous Hollywood sign has not been damaged by the fire. This all coming after several fake images showing the sign burning have been popping up and spread online. The Sunset Fire that broke out last night in Hollywood Hills, that was close to where the sign was. The evacuation orders did not include the area exactly where the Hollywood sign is, and the fire wound up staying some distance away. Crews have halted that fire and they've lifted evacuation orders there.
President Biden and Vice President Kamala Harris meeting with senior White House and administration officials about the wildfires in Los Angeles. The president says they are sending more federal resources and will cover 100% of the cost for 180 days.
I told the governor and local officials, spare no expense to do what they need to do and contain these fires.
We are literally waiting to see which way the wind blows.
President Biden says they're focused on helping contain the fires. He's surging 400 additional federal firefighters and more than 30 firefighting helicopters and planes to the area. President Biden was set to leave for Italy today to meet with the Pope and Italian leaders. He has canceled his trip to direct the federal response in the days ahead.
All right, we are continuing to monitor all the latest developments on the Southern California wildfires on air and on our KCRA 3 News app. Make sure you turn on the push alerts, and that'll get you the latest news on that.